A presentation by Ubuntu, Future Leaders 108, Proprietary, Limited Company. Welcome to the special tribute of the untold story of the giants, and their contributions to the early foundations of the creative industry in South Africa. Films, theatre among other business interests. The Honourable Mr. Isidore William Schlesinger. And the two USA Films corporations, namely, 20th Century Fox, and Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. The special proposed project seeks to commemorate over 84 years of investments and the development and contribution of cinema, theatres and the arts in South Africa by Americans and the American corporations in the past century. The three outstanding contributors in cinemas, or biopsies as they were famously known then, are 1. Mr. I.W. Schlesinger and the African Theatres Limited. Secondly, 20th Century Fox, and thirdly, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. These three American institutions invested profoundly on South African entertainment and thus contributed to the overall development and amusement of the arts in South Africa and the world over. Statements that were made as early as 1935, that we propose celebrating and honoring all of them today, over 84 years later. We begin with Mr. I.W. Schlesinger. He symbolized the perfect ambassador of both countries, of the United States and South Africa. The one man who invested more to theater, cinemas and the arts in his time, and thus changing the artistic landscape. This is the man of great vision. One of his many projects included purchasing one of the initial chain of cinemas in South Africa in the 1913s, known as the Empire Cinemas in Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Durban. He built the Playhouse in Durban, under his leadership as both the managing director and chairman of African Theatres Limited. He also built the Edward Hotel in Marine Parade, Durban. He renewed and modernized the Carlton Centre in Johannesburg and countless other institutions.
The Playhouse in Durban officially opened its doors on Friday, the 7th of June, 1935. In his own words, at the opening of the Playhouse in 1935, the founder and chairman of the Playhouse, Mr. Schlesinger, gave the following sentiments.
In his own words, at the opening of the Playhouse in 1935, the founder and chairman of the Playhouse, Mr. Schlesinger, gave the following sentiments. It gives me great pleasure on behalf of African Theatres Limited, to witness the completion of the Playhouse Theatre and its dedication to the amusement of the people of Durban. I say advisedly, dedicated to the amusement, for laughter and enjoyment are undeniably part of our birthright. It was this thought that first inspired the design of this theatre. To recreate the atmosphere of merry days of the late Tudor period, when the art of entertainment reached its zenith and a little country town had given Shakespeare to the world. But modern buildings and science have enabled us to give the people of Durban a theatre beyond the widest dreams of Tudor actors and playgoers. The Playhouse offers a standard of comfort unknown even 10 ago. A magnificence of interior that is equal to that of any theatre in the world. If the people of Natal derive enjoyment and pleasure from the Playhouse Theatre to the extent we believe they will, that our ambitions will have been fully realized. Early beginnings. He was a proud American. He regarded his American citizenship as a sort of talisman, and that members of his family who he loved dearly lived there. There was also the important fact that he was a New Yorker, born and bred. And even more important fact that he was a boy from the Bowery, the East Side district that O. Henry made famous. He was taught that to earn a living in a Bowery, you had to get up early and have your wits about you. All his life, he was at least 2 hours ahead of everybody in South Africa. The story of the rise of the Schlesinger family in New York is just as romantic as the story of the Schlesingers in South Africa. It began just on 160 years ago. The European Schlesingers owned a sawmill in the Putra Mountains on the border of what was to become Czechoslovakia but part of Austro-Hungarian Empire. Two sons of family, Abraham and Moritz, immigrated to the United States and landed in New York, got involved in various business and later made fortunes, including a banking business called Schlesingers & Son. When depression hit the United States, the young Schlesinger resolved to travel. He read about the discovery of gold in South Africa and then decided that this was where he must go. He made preparations and did not tell his parents. It was in 1894 a young passenger landed in Cape Town, with a little money and a loaf of bread that kindly steward had given him. He looked incredibly young. He left for Johannesburg, where he met two Americans who sold American products, who found themselves with chewing gum they could sell. The young man approached us, was able to sell most of the stock. He sold the consignment and came back for more. The story of his feat was immortalized by Mark Twain. When Mark Twain arrived there, he told the great man about the little American who had sold gum in the darkest Africa. And Twain put it into one of his letters, which was published in due course. The partners did more for Schlesinger. They introduced him to representatives of the Equitable Insurance Company, the fabulous James Kavanagh, one of the greatest insurance salesmen that ever lived. He was introduced to selling life insurance. He never made less than £10,000 a year in commission. He drove, rode, walked and talked his way right round South Africa. He visited every village, hundreds of farms. He sold policies in Southwest Africa and insured chiefs in Swaziland. From those journeys and thousands of interviews he had with attorneys, ministers and storekeepers, sprang his amazing knowledge of South Africa. There was not Main Street anywhere he had not walked and talked insurance. From state of absolute poverty, I.W. Schlesinger was now the importer of American goods. He was living about £800 a year and making anything up to £15,000, so that his savings mounted rapidly. As he broke record after record, he became a legend in the Equitable office in New York, where, though they had never seen him, they talked with awe of the kid who was insuring the whole of Africa. He later got into lucrative tobacco and property business deals, which made him a wealthy man. He traveled frequently back and forth, between South Africa and the United States. He was now a chairman of over 90 companies in South Africa and abroad. In 1905 he acquired the Robinson South African Bank. The pillar companies were I.W. Schlesinger and Company, which became African Consolidated Investments, the African Realty Trust, the African Life Assurance Corporation, the African Guarantee and Indemnity Corporation and the Foreign Banking Trust. The Empire Cinemas in South Africa found themselves in debt to the bank, which more than £60,000. If the film industry was to be saved, they needed an angel. Schlesinger initially had no interest in theaters and cinema business. He looked at the finances of the Empire Cinemas and found them in a hopeless mess, and told the bank that if he was prepared to risk another £60,000 he would take the theater and make it pay. He then found that the whole entertainment industry was in a helpless mess. Indeed, he was afterwards to say, "When I took over, virtually every theater owner in the country was insolvent."
Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Corporation. From the late 1920s onwards, a radical shake-up began in the entertainment industry. Live entertainment went into decline and variety theaters became movie palaces, where eager and the motion picture was more popular. Cinemas and film in those old days also assisted by providing both healing and an escape from the hardships of the Great Depression, allowing a glimpse into high society life. So far from rural life, we now look at the legacy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer in South Africa as we propose to commemorate their legacy and old fond memories and contributions in the artistic landscape and story sharing. People were fascinated by the movies themselves and by the glamorous lives of the men and women who starred in the films. One of American giant of Hollywood studios, together with 20th Century Fox and many others. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer as early as 1930s 1930s had cinemas, branches and theaters in Durban, Johannesburg, and Cape Town.
MGM invested in the overall of entertainment, cinemas and the arts in South Africa. The Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Theatre in Durban Chamberlain's Building was one of the leading structures in a straggling town. In those days, Durban, or Durban as it was then named, presented a far different picture to the progressive city it is today. And so after the much negotiations, the sale of the old Chamberlain's Building and the site on which it stood, corner Smith Street now, Anton Lembede, and former Aliwal Street now Samora Marshall Street, was concluded by J.H. Isaacs, Jeshen and Company, the well-known land and estate agents. 1937 a new monument in progress replaced and came birth of Durban's Metro-Goldwyn Metro Theatre. The theatre had 3 miles of carpet on its floors and that it was the biggest carpet job in the Southern Hemisphere. The theatre were equipped with very costly plush chairs. First-class mechanic came from overseas specifically to install the seats. Projection booths were equipped with 3 machines. The theatre at the time in 1937 carried double sound equipment in South Africa to ensure uninterrupted program. There were qualified nurse in ladies' rooms. Durban had the only Douglas Shearer horn in South Africa, which gave uniform sound intensity in every part of the theatre. There were also the largest and most decorative illuminated attraction sign in South Africa. World-famous artists were responsible for the murals which decorated the auditorium.
Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Theatre in Johannesburg opened on the 4th of November 1932. The Metro Theatre was situated in corner of Bree Street and Von Brandes Street. It would become the largest cinema in South Africa with a seating capacity of 2,800, magnificently appointed in a French style. The spacious downstairs foyer, lobby, was luxuriously carpeted and led to a grand staircase which was the cinema's main feature. It became the leading social gathering place for Johannesburg cinema goers who had never seen such luxury before, including the well-appointed gents and ladies' restrooms. Metro Theatre had a Wurlitzer 3-manual, 13 ranks theatre pipe organ installed. It was opened by organist Charles Parkhurst, who came over from London, UK. He remained organist at the Metro, Johannesburg for 5 years until he went over to the new Metro Cinema that had been opened in Durban, Natal in 1937, notable for the clever arrangement of the main entrance on the corner of the site and the use of the areas under the balcony for a lounge and retiring rooms.
The entrance opened into a grand foyer and promenade giving access to the orchestra floor. Its seating accommodation is for 1,600. The remainder of the ground floor is occupied by shops and a manager's room. A staircase at the side of the foyer leads to the mezzanine promenade and the balcony. Special attention had been given to the retiring rooms and cloakrooms, and these are fitted in sumptuous style. A special cosmetic room for ladies is provided, with elaborate dressing tables and mirrors lighted by concealed lamps. There is a smoking room, and drinking fountains supplied with iced water are at hand in the lounge. The doors and paneling are a very special feature. The system of ventilation is on the new mechanical process of conditioned air, no reliance being necessary on the opening of windows. Except for some fabric in panels on the walls of the orchestra floor, no other provision is made for sound absorption throughout. The architect claims that the design of the theatre is adapted to prevent echoes. All truncated ref. Opening occasion of Metro Cinema in South Africa, Durban, 1937. This wonderful theatre is indicative of the desire of the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer to give the public of Durban an opportunity of enjoying the very best in entertainment, in ease and comfort amidst surroundings of dignity and good taste. The word Metro Durban now takes its place among the luxury theatres of the world. No effort or expense has been spared in constructing a theatre primarily designed to please the patron. The structural grandeur and luxury of appointments are evidence of this. Every article, big or small, while being modern to the instant, will be found suitable to the most fastidious taste. Every details of the theatre engaged the attention of experts in architecture, engineering, decorating and showmanship. It is believed that the achievement is notable. The Metro Durban will obviously at once become the mecca of discerning amusement seekers, and every thought of the management will always be to that end. In considering the above, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer give their assurance that only the very best of the entertainment possible will be offered and presented in the true MGM tradition. The management take this opportunity of welcoming their worships the Mayor and Mayoress and citizens of Durban to the Metro. The Theatre of Stars. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's early leaders. The man of great vision. Louis B. Mayer, Executive Vice President in charge of MGM Productions. He was also the president of Motion Pictures Producers of America. These statements are brief, but they frame the gigantic major activities of a man of dynamic energy, of endless nervous force and explosive driving power. Yet this thumbnail suggestion of a nervously irritable man, as prompt to act as to speak, does not complete the picture, for he has rightly been called the most dignified film personage in Hollywood. His job is contracts, and since both of these call for tact and diplomacy, it may safely be assumed that this temperamental volubility on divers occasions is astutely histrionic. At 51 at the time, Louis B. Mayer was a gentleman of shrewdness and terrific energy, who drives himself, his staff and his motor car at an astounding and unnerving speed. Nicholas M. Schenck, the president of Lowe's Incorporated and subsidiary Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Pictures Corporation, is essentially one of the men who matter. He can proudly say that he has made himself what he is, for he started with no natural advantages. At an early age, he turned towards the entertainment business for a career, and he immediately found the work after his own heart. He played the game of business with the high ardor of a sportsman and gambler. It was a time for clever and daring operations, and in negotiations of this King Nicholas shone. He worked himself up and up, until he became president and general manager of Lowe's Incorporated and of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, when M. Marcus Lowe died in 1926. In collaboration with Lowe, he had done a characteristically brilliant piece of work in the organization of Lowe's Incorporated and MGM. Arthur M. Lowe, Executive Vice President of Lowe's Incorporated, and General Manager of the Foreign Department, of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Pictures. Arthur M. Lowe was one of the most valuable persons of all the many great showmen at the head of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. First Vice President of Lowe's Incorporated of such stars as Garbo, Shearer, Gable, and Crawford. Towards the early 1900s, the international department of the then Metro firm was just a title. There were but two offices, one in New York and one in London. In New York, Arthur Lowe, with the assistance of only a part-time typist, was actually the whole department. But he was not satisfied with his passive role. He craved action. To strengthen his manpower was his first step, and he laid a strong foundation for the worldwide organization that exists today. No less than 140 Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer offices and 35 modern cinema theaters operated around 1937 in 43 countries outside of the United States, including South Africa. This was mainly due to untiring efforts of Arthur M. Lowe, who has visited almost every country in the world chiefly by air and traveled as any business executive in the world. We now look at another Hollywood's giant studios, contribution into South African arts and the cinema development and amusement. The motion picture legacy of 20th Century Fox in South Africa, Durban, Johannesburg and Cape Town. 20th Century Fox in the olden days had an organization with offices and branches, which serviced their various film needs in the entire Southern Africa region. The 20th Century Theatre in Johannesburg, South Africa, was situated at the corner of Von Brandes and President Streets in Johannesburg. It was opened on 15th of March 1940, by 20th Century Fox as the company's premier first release house in Johannesburg. The decor could be described as modern contemporary and certainly not atmospheric. The auditorium was decorated by Ernest Ullman, who used a giant relief map of the world on the auditorium walls as a symbolic figure of moving entertainment covering the hemispheres. The seating was accommodated in both stalls and circle sections. The spacious foyers were luxuriously carpeted and the theatre was equipped with a Wurlitzer 4-manual, 16-rank theatre organ. This was the last organ to be built at the Wurlitzer factory in North Tonawanda, New York, USA, and was constructed in 1939. It was opened by American organist Dean Herrick, who resided in South Africa. A second console was added later, supplied by a South African company and played by Francis Friedman. With the introduction of CinemaScope in 1953, the proscenium arch was enlarged and then sported magnificent edge-to-edge gold satin curtains.
Upon the new occasion at the opening of yet another cinema in 1955 in Durban, South Africa, called the Embassy. A few words and comments by 20th Century Fox leaders and the mayor of the Durban metropolis.
Message from Mr. Murray Silverstone, President, 20th Century Fox International Corporation, in 1955. It is with considerable pleasure that I send you my greetings and congratulations on this auspicious occasion of the opening of the Embassy, South Africa's newest luxury theatre. The worldwide success of CinemaScope, which was pioneered and developed as a result of faith, energy and initiative of Mr. Spiros Piscuris, President of 20th Century Fox Film Corporation, is well known to you all. I am sure, and I am delighted to know that the Embassy Theatre was planned and especially for the presentation of films in this great medium. 20th Century Fox has long been recognized as a leader of the motion picture industry, and as such, our studios under the guiding genius of Mr. Darrell F. Zanuck, Vice President in charge of production, are fulfilling this great responsibility by setting over higher standards of screen fare entertainment that will appeal to South Africa as much as it will to the people of other countries. In this leadership lies the gift-edged guarantee of the superiority of the films you will see in this theatre. I am happy in the knowledge that 20th Century Fox's outstanding cinematic achievements will be presented to the people of Durban in a theatre as resplendent as the Embassy. G. Vernon Nessery, Mayor of Durban. 20th Century Fox, by building of this new Embassy Theatre in Durban, has illustrated its confidence in our future growth and prosperity. Private enterprise has made a very big contribution to our development, and in providing many amenities in the form of amusements and entertainments, and I want to pay tribute to 20th Century Fox for the very fine theatre which has now been added to these amenities in our city. The cinema plays a major part in our lives, either in the form of education, or amusement, and a recent unofficial survey undertaken voluntarily by a body of young business executives in the city amongst tourists and visitors at the height of our winter season, reflected that over 50% indicated their preference for cinemas as one of the most popular attractions. It is evident, therefore, that our city must not overlook the necessity to provide amenities of this nature if we are to continue to be the premier holiday resort in South Africa. The 20th Century Fox Film Company has already established for itself a very good reputation in South Africa for its fine theatres and excellent programs, and I feel very confident that the directors and management will be well rewarded in their new venture in Durban. I congratulate all concerned in the erection of the theatre, and wish them every success. Mr. Spiros Piscuris, President, 20th Century Fox Film Corporation. The motion picture theatre is the core of community life, the place where old and young alike find entertainment and enlightenment to lift their spirits and widen their horizons. The magnificent new Embassy Theatre, I know, will be an important addition to the entertainment amenities of your wonderful city, and in keeping with the outstanding progressive spirit of your community which has achieved so much in developing this great metropolis. It is a matter of deep regret to me that I cannot be with you on the opening night of this new theatre, to share in this happy and memorable occasion. Congratulations to our South African organization, and all those whose skill, experience and initiative have been blended in this forward-looking project. I know that they are proud of their accomplishments, just as all of us in the industry are proud of the great contribution made by motion pictures to promote international understanding and the will for peace in the world. Mr. Edward F. Lambert, Managing Director of 20th Century Fox Films, S.A., Proprietary, Limited. 20th Century Fox is very proud of this latest addition to its circuit of theatres in Southern Africa, and it is my sincere hope that you, the people of Durban, will share this pride. A great deal of thought and care went into the planning of this theatre. No effort or expense was spared to provide you with a place of entertainment that can take its rightful place among the finest theatres that can be found anywhere in the world. Durban is famed not only for throughout Southern Africa, but abroad as well as one of the great holiday playgrounds cities of Southern Hemisphere, and it is naturally fitting that the latest addition to its theatreland should be a credit to the city and a showplace for its thousands of visitors. This was the ideal we had in mind, and now it has become a reality, a luxurious and restful place of entertainment worthy of the great films which will be shown in this theatre. From our studios at Movietone City, Hollywood, the birthplace of cinema's scope, will come a never-ending flow of great and distinguished film masterpieces in cinema scope. In addition to the 20th Century Fox will also present magnificent array of films from other great studios whose productions are distributed by us in Southern Africa. The new Embassy Theatre, I am sure, will make a real lasting contribution to the cultural, artistic and social life of the community of Durban. I extend to you one and all, a most hearty welcome to you new theatre.